Markalak is a channel created on May 29th of 2021. It only hosts 103 subscribers and 6 videos, however their videos are pretty creepy. Bonus subject under this topic is going to be on my TikTok and Instagram reels at the release of this video. YouTube short upload of the bonus comes out tomorrow for those who don't have these social medias, and I hope you enjoy this one. Sorry, had to fit it in somewhere. The first video, called basically sleep paralysis, starts off with someone on some kind of children's playground. They're experiencing that weird dream thing where it feels like you're kind of teleporting through time. Eventually, this odd blank-eyed being is shown staring at them. As it jump scares the viewer, and as it gets much closer, it's easier to notice that the eyes are actually human. They wake up in their bedroom and look around, but immediately get thrown back into their dream and attacked again, and then they see the creature in real life, though it disappears as their brain wakes up. The next video, called Time is a Thief, begins with this strange clock that has these thin, overstretched limbs. This clock asks to be given organs and says that time needs nutrients. We hear some visceral sounds as they retrieve their nutrients from someone. A heart, that's it. Dark RPG starts off with text that says, "Wake up, this is not the end." A man walks through a dark landscape. There is a terrifying presence in the room. The terrifying presence will be this monster. Despite damaging the creature, they unfortunately don't survive the encounter. Game over. Urban Journey 11 starts off with the text, "Visited my old abandoned school after years of being closed. As an urban explorer, I took some photos while I was there. Apparently the school closed down due to several cases of missing children and the building being haunted. Every image of this school looks pretty creepy. If you look closely enough, you may notice the 'Chew' graffiti sprayed on multiple surfaces. Don't know if it means anything, but I thought I'd point it out. The school used to have these big mannequins laying around and used for different classes. I noticed recently after I took the photo that there was something wrong with that mannequin. Maybe the rumors were right about this school being haunted. I thought it was weird for me to think that until I saw my last taken photo. As we look at this unnerving image, the music distorts. Not only is the mannequin following them, but the eyes are glowing, signifying sentience. After that, they left. Smart move, really. The first loss is one of the creepier videos on this channel. After a brief content warning, it says that the individuals in this footage experienced several severe psychological effects due to some type of infection. Grimsby used to be a normal small town hosting things like harvest festivals. The town was also known for its historic church, whose bells rang the sound of passing time. However, in the spring of 2006, that meaning would change. In early spring, the amount of missing people went up by 67% compared to the previous year. During this time, reports about some strange kind of fungus growing in the nearby forest began surfacing. This fungus was called Mycochyme cerebralis, also called bell fungus. Before now, people didn't really pay any mind to the mushrooms. However, the fungus has spread a lot in the past 2 years, and unfortunately it shares similarities with cordyceps. Yes, the real-life zombie mushroom. While that mushroom's host is insects, this one's is humans. At first, those infected will hear the subtle ringing of church bells in the distance, along with mild headaches. As things progress, the infected's hallucinations will intensify, and they will hear a commanding voice. They will isolate themselves and begin to draw mushrooms and bell towers non-stop. By the third stage, fungus will begin to grow on their skin, and the infected will go to damp, dark places. Places that fungus would thrive in, of course. Basically, the fungus will grow inside, rendering the infected immobile. By the final stage, the fungus will grow in their brain until it gets too large. We then cut to a room. The person takes a shower, heads outside, and walks around. Sometime later, they're sitting outside waiting for someone. "Sorry, I can't hang out now." "What? Why?" "Later we hang out at the clock." "Okay, maybe tell me a bit sooner." "Sorry, it's important." "Alright, see you later." Although it was weird for Jake to want to hang out at the clock tower, our main character goes out that night to hang out with him anyway. They head for the tower, remarking on how peaceful it was that evening. Something doesn't feel right though. They head towards the shoddy looking tower as an unnerving rumbling becomes more and more apparent in the audio. Someone is also clearly whispering. but I trusted him, and I was fooled. We see a husk of a man, seemingly at stage 3 or possibly 4 of the infection. He asked them to join him before it's explained that when the host head finally bursts in the final stage, spores are spread everywhere, allowing the fungus to continue reproducing. And so, the cycle continues. Land of the Past is the most recent video. It begins with us outside of some kind of abandoned building before we see some being inside that tells us to wake up. After this, the National Exploring Foundation asks us if we want a cheap vacation or to explore more. If so, we should go to Chinkasaga Haven, the Land of the Past. This place is an island that was recently found near the east coast of the US, though apparently it seems to have appeared in the 60s. Many theorize about its mysterious origins, but all of those theories are inaccurate. Really, the island originated from another dimension. The island hosts plenty of structures which, based on this image, seem to be houses. Sounds to me like someone was living there. While exploring, make sure you have food and water, a sleeping bag, tent, matches, and a knife. Avoid windy areas and predators. These predators consist of brown bears, wolves, saltwater crocodiles, and... wait. Huh? Conservator insulae, a creature that is only native to this island. Although encountering it is rare, anyone who encounters it is never the same afterward. Well, granted, most don't even make it away alive if they do encounter it. Usually they end up erased as if they never existed. So what can you do if you encounter this creature? Run. Everything is alive. The island is breathing. We then see someone walking through some kind of abandoned building as a deep breathing sound is heard. Shortly after, they're attacked by the creature. After a credit sequence, we cut back to the place we started at. We can now see that the creature inside this building is probably a conservator insulae, at least that's what I think. It says, "It's time to move on." The sky immediately turns black and time freezes until the video is over. Although these are all separate horror stories, I do wonder if all of these instances exist in the same universe. It's hard to know though. EXP Go is an analog horror channel that was created on January 8th of 2023. Though the analog horror this channel makes is a bit different from what you're used to. Alice in Dreams is a video you may have seen in your recommended before. This video begins with Alice looking into that classic rabbit hole before. You may already notice the disjointed nature of this video. Everything happens very quickly, like Alice is skipping through time. She stares at a rabbit that runs off and begins to follow it into this door. Before entering, she chooses to remove her mask. We're then greeted with this. Huh? What could a lobotomy have to do with this? For those who don't know, a lobotomy is a type of psychosurgery that cut off the connections between the frontal lobe and the rest of the brain. During the time they were performed, they were thought to stop certain impulses from reaching the frontal area of the brain, causing the patients to be calm. Obviously, despite the praise it may have received when it was first invented, the procedure was archaic and dangerous, causing much more harm than good. If Alice herself received something like this, it could explain the erratic nature of what's happening here. It then shows an animated demonstration of the procedure before we're suddenly brought back to Alice in a different area. After the music stops, the clown's mouth slowly opens before Alice suddenly flies away and ends up in a very Dreamcore-like place. I am not falling into a void. Why do I have to swallow these pills? I am not crazy. So at this point, we can assume that Alice is locked up inside of some kind of mental hospital. We can also assume that that lobotomy was performed on her. Asuka TV also brings up a good point from their own experience, explaining that it's extremely frustrating to be called crazy. Definitely a good explanation video to watch from someone that's actually experienced things similar to Alice in this video. After this, Alice comes in contact with the Cheshire Cat. It then switches to a caterpillar man as an incoherent series of notes jumbles together before. Seeing as she kind of fades back into her normal self after this, I wonder if this represents her possibly going in and out of some kind of altered mind state, feeling like herself and then not feeling like herself. Right after seeing the Queen of Hearts, Alice wakes up in a dim room, alone, blank-faced, docile, just like she was made to be. I really enjoy the creative approach this video has to analog horror, and I will likely cover this series in the distant future once it's much more developed. The next video I'd like to talk about from this channel is called The Goat. Although this is a pilot, the video still has a lot of content. On the 6th of June 1985, a man records a strange goat in the woods at night. He wonders what exactly a goat could be doing there alone. Then, he notices something. The man's breathing becomes more rapid as the goat finally makes eye contact with him. Its face is grotesque and the man is subsequently attacked. We're then shown the aftermath as text tells us that this is the scene at 9 a.m. Julian Martinez was the unfortunate victim in this case. This was not the last disappearance. Elizabeth finds a hidden door near the previous scene, a possible piece of key evidence in this mysterious case. But why was she there in the first place? June 29th, 1985. We begin to see the recording that Elizabeth took. On the walls, we see an arrow pointing to the door with 3 question marks and a skull. There's also text that's cut off with an arrow pointing to the door, so if anyone knows what that could be, let us know. She says that she hopes she doesn't find something bad, and that she thinks this may be a bad idea. Yeah, I'd say going in an abandoned building in the woods somewhere that has a skull painted on the wall is probably not the best idea. We cut to her inside the room. She says that it smells terrible, and more importantly that she thinks that they did bad things here. By the way, I noticed the subtitle change. It's just a minor grammar fix as far as I understand, although my Spanish is not very good, so I could be wrong. The paint on the walls is likely blood, which explains the smell. She then finds this.
¿Qué es esa cosa? Creo que son 2 cuartos conectados, ¿sí? Me quiero ir, pero quiero saber qué es eso.
This painted image reminds me of Baphomet. This is more than likely a ritual area. Despite wanting to leave, Elizabeth comments that something is forcing her to see. Suddenly she's attacked, and that's the end. I think that this series is going to be really interesting, so maybe I'll cover it in the distant future as well. Andrew Games 22 is a channel that was created on September 10th, 2016. On this channel, a 46 video series exists, and I'm sure you can tell that this series is Minecraft themed. Minecraft ARGs are obviously not new, but I think it's always cool to talk about new series. Obviously, I won't be covering this series in its entirety, but I will be covering a couple episodes so you know what to expect, more or less. Minecraft.wmv is the first video in the series. Player loads in and everything appears normal. Well, at first. Several things actually happen in the sequence. Shout out to Crocodile55 for this, by the way. For a single frame, as they select the single player option, the screen changes and the text says, "The Palladium will be dead." The Palladium being another YouTube channel that makes creepy short films. As the world loads in, the Minecraft Beta 1.0 text changes to Minecraft Beta 1.0.46, which, as Random Text Creator 5607 points out, is not a real version. After walking around for a bit, they come in contact with a pig. While attacking the pig, they jump, attempting to deal a critical hit, which can only be done in newer versions of the game. As they begin to destroy a tree, the song Living Mice begins to play. This song wouldn't have been released until 3 months after the Beta 1.0 version. They immerse themselves in the world for a while, but eventually, We watch all who approach. After making their way up a hill, the player reveals a strange obsidian symbol in the ground. This must represent the "we" spoken about on the sign. They continue to look around for more before eventually walking away. As they do, though, somehow they're back at the symbol again. They try to walk away and are immediately pulled back. Everything is completely out of control as the player stands there, resigned to their fate. The video ends. Almost a year and a half later, the Sky Is Not Real.avi was released. In the beginning, the player is seen digging, then checking their inventory and trying to put the sand in the spot of their helmet. After moving the mouse around for a bit, they give up and leave the trenches they were digging, walking over and attacking a pig. They use the same jumping technique again to try to get a critical hit. Eventually they reach their house, where they take 2 diamonds and a stick out of their chest to craft a diamond sword. As they look within their chest again, we can see that their mouse movements are again off. After going outside, they open their inventory and we see an odd glitch with the Minecraft version text. After grabbing 33 cobblestone, they leave and barricade the entrance. They then begin to walk around, but something sounds off. Definitely not a Minecraft sound, probably a notification from somewhere, although I have no idea where. They continue to walk for a while before transitioning to swimming. Then something strange happens again. That Ben statue is again relevant to the Palladium, as we can see that they have videos based on it on their channel. Eventually they make it to land and begin to walk again. Another subtle difference here is that the dirt textures are rotated by 90 degrees. Again, shout out to Crocodile55 because I would have never known that. Again, they explore for a bit until the recording strangely glitches and cuts to them attacking some cows. After getting rid of all the animals, they move towards the original spawn point. When they get there, they take a series of steps that's pretty familiar. They look at a couple similar places from the Minecraft.wmv video before eventually heading towards that infamous obsidian symbol. On their way over, the screen briefly darkens and the .46 remains prominent again. As they continue on their journey, they notice some odd red blocks that they proceed to place a torch near. They then decide to break a block. This block possesses no name. It was time to head towards the symbol once again. Things are even creepier now that it's nighttime. They happen upon a structure with torches. A bunch of those same red blocks surround the sign and symbol from before. They place torches around it and at some point their HUD disappears, though that 46 is still there yet again. We're also shown a cross in the middle of everything, made out of that same mysterious material. The recording is unstable and corrupted as they survey the area a last time before leaving. They navigate the darkness for a while before they show that they're in a forest, and despite the render distance, stars in the sky. All the clouds in the sky are that same strange symbol shape. And that's it. Some kind of secret religious society is hiding in this Minecraft game. Maybe if people really want me to, that could end up being a video topic, but for now, let's move on. Dr. Nowhere is a channel that many of you already know, mainly because of the infamous Boiled One phenomenon video. I watched that on my second channel, by the way, check that out. In this video though, I'll be talking about the Oddity Compendium.
Dr. Nowhere's Office of Wonders presents the Oddity Compendium, a beginner's anomaly education program.
There are many strange oddities in our universe. Much like in my previous SCP video, not a bad plug, huh? Anomalies can be life forms, products, organizations, events, and even time periods. We're then warned that the information we'll be presented with may be from realities that we don't reside in. If we try to perceive material from an incompatible reality, it may cause a conscious reality fracture, which can cause things like migraines, excessive deja vu, and instant death, so that's not very good. What will we learn today? 1. Your own bed may be harboring a hunger for your flesh. Sleep with a cold fan on if possible. 2. If you ever walk downstairs one morning and your family's gone, interacting with the headless corpses that remain in their steads should be avoided. Non-existence is a contagious disease. 3. If you're out in the middle of nowhere and you get a rush of brilliant ideas, turn back immediately. Enlightenment is a drug, and the withdrawals can kill. I'm not sure which is more strange. The fact that turning on a cold fan can stop your bed from eating you, The fact that non-existence is contagious, which means I guess morticians don't exist in this reality, or that being enlightened is a bad thing. Flesh beds, or mattress folk, appear like normal beds at first. However, hiding inside the seemingly normal mattress is a parasitic organism that's currently slumbering. Originally discovered in the 1960s by a mattress company looking through their storage, mattress folk were found to be dangerous once they were in warm enough weather. Alice DeGere would be the first victim. After 6 months of using the bed, she suddenly disappeared. Eventually, such a horrible smell emanated from the mattress that her family would call the police. It was after this that they discovered the creature along with hundreds of human bones and Alice, half digested. Usually these creatures lie in wait until the body heat of whoever is unfortunate enough to sleep on them wakes them up. Well, that explains the cold fan thing. Also, I'd like to say that there is a laugh track that plays at different times throughout this section of the video, which makes it just a bit more unnerving. When these creatures finally do wake up, they gradually unfold themselves out of sight as to avoid detection. After a month, the creature finally strikes. Some think that due to their humanoid appearance, these creatures may be a subset of Homo sapiens that merged with a fungus years ago. During autopsies on their digestive systems, DNA from people across hundreds of years could be found. The mattress folk themselves also possess human DNA, with one being directly related to Napoleon Bonaparte, who would have been alive around the time that mattress folk came into existence. But yeah, if your mattress is warm, get rid of it. In an alternate reality almost the same as our own, pale headless bodies exist instead of regular humans. These beings do technically still breathe through their necks, and their hearts will occasionally beat. They all appear similarly besides differences in size. If a human interacts with them, they show a level of awareness as well. There are over 2,300 regular humans residing in this alternate reality, with all of them ending up there after falling asleep under strange circumstances. Nobody can remember their original face or identity as well. This makes people believe that this is an anti-reality, a place where useless or harmful aspects of reality are dumped. Humans here live in abandoned structures and forage for food when it's warm enough, which is rare. One day, a man would be walking around and would accidentally bump into one of these bodies. The body would suddenly remove the man's head and attach it to its own neck. As they identify the man, this happens.
The man's name was Michael Tedford.
Well, they did say that these people couldn't remember their own identities. I guess it causes issues in reality when these identities are perceived in any way. Because the being put Michael's head on its neck, an event would occur on Earth in 2061. This event would entail a large figure appearing in a family's backyard with Michael's rotting head still attached. Things again appear unstable as they identify Michael. Everything would be removed and taken to an anomaly testing site. This being was attempting to become Michael Tedford and reconnect with reality, something that all of these creatures desire. They're all affected by the disease of non-existence. When incurring this disease, you end up here, along with every other creature like this. Luckily, this is rare. Also, random structures will sometimes pop up on Earth to correspond with the structures on parallel Earth. It's thought that these structures are meant to fight against non-existence. Well, at least we don't have to worry about that as long as we keep our head on straight. These giant structures are enlightened beings that exist on Earth in several locations and even the moon. They float a small amount over whatever surface they may be on and move forward around 2 inches or 5 centimeters a year. These beings understand all of the vast secrets of the universe and are constantly releasing their knowledge in order to offset what they hold. Despite being under government surveillance, sometimes people will end up coming in contact with these beings, being led by angelic singing. When they get close enough, they'll receive an immense boost in intelligence and listening comprehension. The tendrils we see reaching up from the obelisks into the sky as a form of worship are made out of human organs and other biological matter. When someone actually perceives what these beings are saying, their head either instantly explodes or they comprehend everything being said. If the latter occurs, they're absorbed into the being. It's thought that ancient giants summoned these beings through rifts in reality as they were fed up with the lack of knowledge on Earth. Large human skeletons were found around many of the obelisk sites. When they were first summoned forth, the beings helped the pyramids of Giza be built through giving the pharaoh Khufu sacred knowledge. Their pyramid shape represents these creatures as well. Well, at least we don't have the infinite knowledge of all existence to deal with. That would keep you up at night for sure.
Now, looks like our time here may be almost up. But before you go, it's time for bonus oddity.
Filbus is a being that when viewed in any type of media will cause the viewer to have an overwhelming desire to practice Filbism, a religion that revolves around building and eating furniture, particularly chairs.
There are so many wonderful things about Filbism. Consider the thought of Filbism to become one with many others today. It's a great decision. Just eat from here to get started.
Oh yeah, and anytime you talk about Filbism, it will result in ads or sponsors from Filbus for some reason. Anytime you confront someone that practices Filbism about said Filbism, they act as though it doesn't exist.
Sign up for Filbism certification here. Consider the thought of Filbus today. Eat from here.
Before we move on, we should cleanse ourselves of all the information we learned today, especially the Filbus stuff.
Please close your eyes and do not open them until told to do so. You may now open your eyes. Thank you for complying.
With that, we finally completed the Oddity Compendium. What an amazing experience, but let's move on. Wakin Bonk is a YouTube channel that was created on February 19th, 2023 and revolves around an unnerving religious horror series. Again, I won't cover the entire thing in depth because this video is honestly long enough, but I will give a summary of each episode in the series. Granted, I'd highly recommend you check it out on your own. Start of Anew states that Rosa comes back. The start of Anew. Get ready to cleanse. This video heavily reminds me of something like Imaginedom, but let's continue. It Burns begins in the wilderness.
I have no control. My arms become stiff. My legs paralyzed. And then she takes over. Her presence is like a venom. It stings my skin. It flows through my veins. It burns.
Who is she? Could this be Rosa? We then see the woman repeating, "It burns" over and over before the screen goes black and another face briefly pops up. Corditio, being the Latin word for treason, starts with an odd buzzing noise. You promised me good life. You promised me fortune.
ペット太陽と海から春を裏切った夏
We then see another image of the woman standing under a tree as we see her crying tears of blood.
It is feeding off of me. A leech that latched itself onto my back. I am its servant now.
Presumably this leech is a baby, more than likely Jesus or, well, something else. The messenger angel begins with someone telling us that an angel visited that was wearing white with blood on its chest. Similar to how the lady appears, it smelled of sweet roses before it appeared and then spoke.
Dolores, she has a plan for you. Visit her by the tree. You'll feel her. You'll do marvelous things. Disobey and trust her. Entrust yourself to her. Give everything to her. Offer your life to her.
So the woman speaking and the woman we've likely been seeing this entire time is Dolores. I'm guessing the woman she must give herself up to is Rosa. The angel's face closes in as it tells us that it's not who it seems, that she made them do this to Dolores, and that they were exiled from the heavens because of her. Dolores is her plan because through her she's able to, well, we don't know. By the way, the author did confirm Dolores is not Mary nor a representation of her. I just wanted that to be clear. This probably means the leech is actually the woman, Rosa, so I was wrong earlier. ¿Quién eres?, meaning who are you, says, please make her stop. She was banished from the garden. My time has come. I will reign. The phrase, el encuentro es muy doloroso, meaning the encounter is very painful, is being repeated over and over as well. Perhaps the mysterious evil woman is supposed to be Eve, but we'll see as time goes on. The Miracle Promise 1 shows the moon moving towards the sun until it fully eclipses it. Once the moon had birthed the sun, the book of Revelations will come last. For one is destined to arrive soon and prepare salvation for mankind. A cloud will burn and reveal an eye, one that sees and foresees everything. Prepare, for the moon will birth again to a lady that will retrieve the eye from the sky. Someone then tells us that she stole the moon and to not believe her lies. They then show what she did to them. This appears to be that same angel, its eyes hollowed out. I'm so sorry brings us back to that same wilderness area. I stood barefoot. I watched the light. Serpent strikes, unaware that it bit. The serpent stood higher and taller than me. The serpent shines. Its light burns my eyes. Someone warned me about the serpent. I think he also got deceived by the serpent who speaks. Someone save me from this curse. Yet anyone who tries, she prepares their demise. Dolores then apologizes to 3 names, one being Susana, who from my understanding is the angel from before. She then appears and the video ends. Messenger Angel 2 starts with Susana, I believe, telling Dolores she's correct, telling her that she was betrayed by the serpent. Morse code in the description also states, a woman's head deformed beyond recognition. The woman who intervened begins in the sky, a lone tree standing among the clouds. A woman fell down to her knees. Rosa didn't like it, for the woman speaks the truth. Morse code is then shown that roughly reads, she did not beg for forgiveness, now she can't breathe. Her head was mangled like that of a wild beast. In Woman Who Intervened 2, Verita Sanchez is shown on her knees with her hands to the sky. Her soul was claimed by the serpent who stood tall. Into her mouth she walked to feed the lady thirsty for souls. A news article briefly pops up. Headless corpse. A corpse of a woman was reported by individuals. The woman allegedly started to warn about a lady. A small crowd was in the field due to an alleged angel apparition. The lady's head just vanished, according to eyewitnesses. Verita must have been the other name Dolores apologized to. Dolores starts with, Dolores telling us that an angel appeared in this field to her and told her a lady would visit her often. This lady would visit and give Dolores messages of peace and salvation. She is not the Virgin Mary, but something new to worship. She would then provide instructions to save mankind. We need to entrust ourselves to her, worshiping her with everything we have, for she is our mother, should be worshipped as our God. Her name is Rosa. The article at the end says, Miracle. A woman named Dolores has been experiencing visitations from a lady named Rosa. Dolores is said to be experiencing visitations from an angel. A miracle indeed. A heavenly being has set its focus on earth to provide salvation to mankind. A miracle. I'm not sure if that's the case. The Morse code in the description states a similar sentiment. The first apparition begins with an account of someone encountering a woman in a white dress right after the smell of roses filled the air. She proceeded to give them a message. The person is shown walking to the tree before...
Mother, why do you sound like me?
It is destiny that leading to be salvation. You will be my miracle, and I will be you.
I fully submit. I trust you, dear lady. What is your name, lady?
The text says, I was the one who refused, and I deceived Eve, banished from the garden. Now I stand here, powered by his creation. Through the bloodline of Eve, I shall corrupt their faith. My time has come. I will reign. Susana and Dolores starts with Dolores walking over to Susana in the middle of a field. Dolores. Susanna. Why did you ask for me? Dolores, I don't think the lady is being honest. What are you talking about? Please trust me. How can a heavenly being ask you to worship them and not the Trinity? Susanna, have you lost your mind? The lady is a holy being. She told me she's from heaven. What if she's lying? She's not. This is the last time I want you to talk about this. Dolores, please trust me. She's deceiving you. What about the church? What about it? Will you tell the church about the events? No, the lady asked not to. Dolores. What? Just stop. I trust the lady with all my heart. A face suddenly appears on screen before we get more text. The lady did not like what Susanna told me. I told the lady not to hurt her. The lady was furious. She told me that I do not have any right to tell her what to do, especially if it is against her will. The lady told me that she wants to talk to Susanna, so she sent an angel to tell Susanna that in 3 days she will face the lady. The woman who intervened 3 starts off with that same infamous tree before we see rose petals falling and Mother Rosa. Rosa is a new being that we should worship and adore. She has set foot on earth to save us from our wrongdoings. Dolores, her seal, is a proud woman, worthy of being called a saint. Dolores has spread the word about the new mother, and people have grown to love and accept Mother Rosa as their own god. The video then distorts and cuts to a black screen. Dolores is shown on the screen, greeting us. She proceeds to show us around. First, we're shown the spot in the field the angel usually appears to let Dolores know that Rosa will appear. Next, we're shown the sacred tree, which we're quite familiar with at this point. We're made to kiss the grass before moving on. This is of course the tree where Rosa initially appeared. When appearing on top of the tree, she possesses a sword. Next, we're introduced to Dolores' disciples. They were chosen by Rosa. Madeline Garcia, Samuel Reyes, Susana Martinez. Unfortunately, we know what likely happened to her, or really all of them, since, well, 3 names were in the apology video. Susana's image distorts before we're taken to the 3rd day. Susana. Yes? Dolores and her disciples are waiting for you. I'm about to go now. An account of the angel appearing to Susanna is then shown, before we're shown an extremely grainy video of the encounter. Only Dolores and her disciples can fully see it. Susanna stands there before kneeling down and raising her hands up as she lets out unintelligible screams. Her head then vanishes. Susanna's head is gone? What do we do now? Her family must not know. This will cause a stir in our community. The people, they have their faith in the lady. But isn't this caused by the lady? Samuel, we must not question her plans. She who set foot here is a heavenly being. This is for our own good. Just trust me. What should we tell the authorities? They're waiting for an answer. I don't know. The community's faith is important. If the family found out that Susanna died, they will accuse the apparition as unholy. This is not a tragic accident. The lady gave Susanna the gift of eternal life. We must not intervene. The authorities are asking and they want information. Let them in. I'll talk to them. We're then shown an incident report. As stated by one of the primary witnesses, Dolores, a woman whose name is Verity Sanchez, is one of her followers. Verity was asked to go to a field due to a religious event called Angel Apparition. The woman was talking to the angel, and when she knelt down, she started screaming. Then Dolores and the disciples saw her head vanish. The forensic team arrived at the scene, but found no rational explanation regarding the incident. There were no material witnesses and fingerprints. We then get a pop-up ad for a gift from Lady Rosa. A face is briefly shown before it pops up again with the message, Dolores, please trust me. She is deceiving you. She is not from heaven. She sent me to hell. Also interesting to note is that it seems like these disciples have a religious new name and their given old name. Samuel starts with a message to Dolores. Everybody is silent. Everyone doesn't remember anything that happened. Dolores, what are you doing? Susanna is dead. What will happen to us now? Believe Susanna. She is not from heaven. She came from hell. It then switches to Samuel in a field of flowers looking distressed. I was caught reciting my prayers. It was for Christ, my Lord and Savior. Dear God, Help me. I do not know what I've put myself into. Or Samuel, it's probably far too late. A notice sign is then shown. The recent events are not to be concerned about. Nothing happened bad, and ones will not speak about it. Trust the ladies will. If only Dolores could have realized how blind she truly was. Then again, it probably wouldn't have saved her anyway. I probably will cover this series more in depth in the future. Probably next year, let's be honest, but it truly is amazing. Unorthodox Kitten is a channel that was made on May 31st, 2023. The videos on this channel are truly something else. Honestly, I feel like I don't have the credentials to truly explain these videos as well as they should be explained, so I definitely hope someone else does, but I did want to showcase why exactly I decided to include this channel in this video. Each of the videos on this channel, from my understanding, revolve around many different geometric beings and mathematical concepts. I'm going to show each video in the background while reading a comment that I believe best encapsulates the meaning of each video based on my limited understanding of what's going on. The description of infinity, singularity, and the rapture seems to talk about a war between gods, with the question of whether existence can be so without non-existence also being a concept. I really like what I am interpreting as a comparison between the formation of new universes / planes of existence and the evolution of species. I think it helps me with visualizing how timelines are created, especially with the tree and tree seed dispersion aesthetic in this video and later ones. Also, timelines living in ecosystems where they interact and feed each other and reproduce is pretty cool. Everything is happening at the same time. This entire comment is in response to this one by Austin Ray. As far as I understand, these tree-like things are multiverses differing from each other in the axioms that operate them. So the question, how were they created, is a bit meaningless. They simply exist, perhaps as part of some larger structure. It is possible to understand what their goal is because it simply does not exist, just like life on Earth. They simply exist and interact with each other according to certain rules. Those structures that, by virtue of their design, are capable of maintaining their existence remain. When several such stable structures meet, the stability of one of them may be disrupted. Then, it will die. Otherwise, these structures may form a new structure, which may also be stable. Further, the same rules apply to it. As you already understand, the action of this story does not take place on Earth. Humanity is also likely present in this story, but no more than a mitochondria in one of its cells of a minor hero of the novel. The will of humanity does not decide anything in this story, unless, of course, it turns out to be a cancer cell. The external reality of finiteness. The external reality of finiteness. I originally read finiteness as fitness, but I think I'm onto something. Going by the previous video, entire universes form higher dimensional organisms, which in turn form the basis for even higher dimensional organisms. I think we're witnessing the outcome / death of a being on the very top and its ripple effects to the lower dimensions. Finiteness is an evolutionary term for how successful a species is at reproducing. External reality means outside of our reality. Hence, a being at the top was not fit enough to survive and died. This is merely the ripple effects in the aftermath spreading all the way down. I could be plain wrong though, who knows. Existence no longer exists starts with something I can actually talk about. Well, read, so I guess it's actually the same as what I've been doing. Whatever. In the 2032 Milkdromeda galactic year, the undamaged HCBL radio telescope in the Origin Remembrance Garden received a radio signal from the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall. When processed, the signal was revealed to be a part of a massive something moving at high speed in the direction of the local prime group. A specialized uncompromised group of units was tasked by the command to investigate the nature of the signal. All the units were later discovered deceased, the research results destroyed, leaving behind one simple message. Math never existed. Entire clusters of galaxies started to disappear, one after another. After decades, a violet formation of unknown objects appeared in the sky. That something was sent that signal is getting closer and closer to me. To explain a couple things that I actually can explain, Milkdromeda refers to the theorized collision that's projected to happen billions of years from now between our Milky Way galaxy and the Andromeda galaxy, so this is over 2,000 years after that. The Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall is a conglomeration of galaxies that comes to be the largest object in the known universe. That being said, I think this comment by Megasparklegoomba6807 explains things pretty well. So what I'm getting here is, humanity and other races managed to make something to become gods, and with it by erasing fundamental concepts of the universe, and now the machine wanders to nothingness forever, trying to accomplish a lost and unattainable goal as new and exotic beings come to take the place of what was left behind.